A very good morning to you. Welcome to Rise and Shine Daily. My name is Janice Kobum, and I'm super delighted to be here once again. And of course, happy for the fact that you're at the other side of the divide. Once again, welcome to Rise and Shine.
Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Akwa Ibom State. Today is a good day to be alive and a great day for you to rise and shine wherever you are. My name is Uyai Anyeka, and I'm thankful to be alive and to be here this morning. Do not forget to be a part of our community. So like, share, comment across all the social media platforms, all of which you can find at spectrumtv.ng. Of course, we also have our phone lines displayed on the screen in the course of the program. Feel free to call in, send us WhatsApp or text messages, and we'll be glad to take your contributions on the issues that will be raised on the floor of Rise and Shine. Good morning once again.
Definitely. Good morning, Uya.
Good morning, Janet.
Quite a serious situation in Akwa Ibom State here. Yesterday, I would call it it was a temple run around some areas in the vicinity of Uyo, and court clashes, and we're wondering what exactly is happening. You know, why are the authorities not wading into this matter? I think yesterday we brushed over it, but just that same yesterday during the evening, it was said that there was a lot of scampering in some areas in Uyo, you know, because some people were engaged in some, you know, browse and all of that. But it's quite serious. People might be losing lives. People that have nothing connected, you know, with what is happening might be losing lives. People might be losing properties as well, because when there's that kind of disarray, obviously people will just be scampering for safety, not knowing exactly, you know, where they are going to. So this is more like a clarion call to the government and security agencies to wake up to the, you know, responsibility of protecting the lives of the common people in Uyo and also the properties of people as well.
It's a sorry situation that we're having, and I think part of the biggest problems is that there are allegations that the security agencies are not responding as should. You know, we are hearing of, you know, gunfights in certain areas, especially the Nwaniba axis of town, but yet we are not hearing that the police is on ground. And then, you know, there was a conversation, just some confusion about it just makes sense, but it is making the lives of people living in that area really difficult, because as of yesterday, by the time we get to 5:30, 6 o'clock, everyone is camping to make sure that if they live on that end of town, they are already in their homes, and then some people are not even coming out, just like you said, so that they are not caught in crossfires of what they do not know. Even if you're running, where do you know that you're running to? You know, it's just a major problem. So this is more like calling on the security agencies in Akwa Ibom, especially like the anti-cultism unit. Please, you know, get on the issue immediately. Whatever this is about, arrests should be made, conversations should be held. This should not be happening at this time. It's really dangerous for the rest of the people who did not sign up to be cult members. I mean, let everybody choose their path and leave their trouble.
Yeah, definitely. But again, wasn't there a law in the state against cultism?
Of course,
so why is
there
it not
is.
holding sway? Now, why are people not reprimanded? Why are people not prosecuted?
Why is the response to this particular situation
Exactly.
not swift if we have an anti-cultism law? I mean, we have a governor who continues to laud the fact that, you know, cultism is a no-go area in the state and all of that. He doesn't stand for that. But if this is 3 days going on a stretch, you know, since a couple of days back, and this is still happening, why don't we have a swift response from the anti-cult unit or even the police force in Akwa Ibom?
And we don't know if an arrest has been made or arrest made towards this issue as well. But just like we said earlier on, it's a clarion call. Please, government, look into what is happening. We really do not have a wind of the reason why this is happening. So I think that investigations should begin to be made so that we know exactly what the problem is, and then we know how to also curb it as well, because it's very important when people begin to lose lives unnecessarily, caught in crossfire or stray bullets, or lose businesses. Akwa Ibom State is relatively a peaceful state, and we still want to maintain that status as one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. So that's just it on that one. But anyways, we're back on set now, Nuyai. So many interesting conversations, I must say. And in a couple of days, Nigerians have been glued to their television sets. They have been glued, you know, to their social media. They've been glued to all the TV stations across the country just to get wind of some of the informations happening. We know that the Presidential Tribunal, Petition Tribunal is ongoing. Of course, they'll be hearing the case of Peter Obi today. That of Atiku was actually, was postponed to Thursday. Now, it was held yesterday, but postponed to Thursday. And the big one, more like the big win now for democracy. Of course, we saw that the case between former governor now of Osun State, Oyetola Adegboyega, and Ademola Adeleke has been laid to rest finally. And on that note, we just give perspective to that story. A major story for this morning, of course, the Supreme Court yesterday affirmed Ademola Adeleke of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as the valid elected governor of Osun State, I beg your pardon now. Now, the Apex Court, in its lead judgments delivered by Justice Emmanuel Agim, dismissed an appeal that was lodged against Adeleke election victory by the former governor of the state, Adegboyega Oyetola, who was the gubernatorial candidate of the All Progressives Congress. It held that Oyetola alleged that Adeleke won through overvoting that occurred in 774 polling units in the state. He, however, failed to produce any bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS, a machine that was used in any of the polling units, to prove his allegations. It is glaring that the appellant did not provide in evidence any BVAS, but sought to dispute that the BVAS contained a record of accredited voter. It is therefore the only direct and primary record of voters' accreditation at polling units on election day. It also held that nothing in either Section 47 of the Electoral Act 2022 or Regulations 18 to 23 of the INEX regulation made it mandatory for presiding officers in an election to transmit by BVAS the number of accredited voters in each polling unit to the back-end server. Now, a lot of more like complicity in this particular judgment. So, but we tried to break down this conversation. Let's just take a listen to some of the comments and, of course, the speech of Ademola Adeleke.
And party, I say thank you, Osun. To the judiciary, Osun has emerged as a moral compass, affirming the integrity of our democracy. On behalf of Osun people, we appreciate you and we adore your love for justice and equity. To all stakeholders in Osun project, be assured that the revalidation of our mandate is a challenge, a call to duty, a fresh demand for more dividends of democracy. I commit myself to an even more expanded delivery of good governance. In me, you will find a truthful pro-people governor. I seek support and cooperation of all Osun residents and citizens, irrespective of party affiliations. This is our state, and we must join hands. You are all my strong pillar of support. My children, especially B-Red, Shino, and then to my nephew, David Adeleke, Davido, to all Imole and PDP supporters, locally and internationally. Our victory is validated. Thanks for standing by me. Again, I have to seize this opportunity to thank my big brother, that is my father today, Dr. Adeleke, and my big sister, who is now my mother, Yeyelua Modupe Adeleke Soni. My dear good people of Osun State, the good job continues. We shall ramp up the implementation of our 5-point agenda. We shall focus as usual, on grassroots development and infrastructural revival of our dear state. Our policies shall fight poverty, insecurity, unemployment, and underdevelopment. You shall truthfully feel, taste, and enjoy the dividend of democracy. I thank you all for listening. May the good Lord bless the Osun State, the state of the living spring, and the federal government.
We want wait. I want to go for you. In front, not at the back. Bro, hold on, please. Hold on, please. I'm coming. Please hold on.
This means a lot for Ademola Adeleke and the People's Democratic Party in Osun State, and I would dare say for the people of Osun State also, because when we look at the widespread celebration that this caused for the people of Osun, it then goes, without it saying that this is actually the man most of the Osun people wanted in the saddle of leadership for the state. And this victory is, well, at this point, we can say is a well-deserved one. Having told this part before, and, he couldn't make it, and then it was more like a cycle that was going to repeat. Yeah. Now the appeal court, gave a different judgment, and now the Supreme Court has upheld that Ademola Adeleke is the rightful winner of the elections that held in Osun State last year. So it's just really, really good. And the sentiments are widespread, because you can actually find a lot of people across different sectors within the state coming out to visibly celebrate the fact that, his victory was upheld. It just goes to show you that truly there is hope for light when he continues to say Molade. So, I mean, the people of Osun, to the Adegboyega's faction, and, wanting to know, okay, why are you not satisfied with the results? Why are you questioning this? At this time, like I would always say, I just hope that, they can sheath their sword. Like we were saying yesterday, once the Supreme Court now has given this judgment, there is no other place where they can go to contest the results. They just have to take it in good faith. If ever he still wants to be the governor of Osun State, then maybe he can try another time. But for this time, two courts have upheld that Ademola Adeleke is the rightful winner of the state election. But then again, we also see that not just that he won the election, he has, there's prospect that he's going to do right by Osun State. And I think that
now, because the story actually trended,
yeah,
the conversation on social media is that the Supreme Court has left, or more like the judiciary now has lived up to its expectation, has helped democracy in Osun State. And all eyes are looking towards, the Presidential Election Tribunal and how the proceedings will be going forward. But let's take a listen or a look at, the scenario in Osun State yesterday, especially with the civil servants in the state, just like Uyai has said. It was something beautiful in Osun State. More like, would we say that with this kind of celebration, the likes of the man Ademola Adeleke is doing well for the Osun people? Let's not forget also, he came on board and met a backlog of salaries owed. And one of the things that he's done so far is to try to clear that backlog of salary. And we know how civil servants will react to prompt salary payment and, clearance of backlogs and all of that. So would we say that the man Ademola Adeleke has done well for the Osun people, going by this particular video we're seeing?
We can upheld. So like I said, prior to this time, I believe that he's doing something right by the citizens. And let's not even forget that politics is for the people, governance is for the people, democracy is about the people. So how well, is he touching the primary needs of the people? That is why you're going to have that kind of reaction and that kind of response. So now the only other hope we are going to have is that, please, Ademola Adeleke, uphold this whatever you've been doing that makes the people celebrate this loud over your victory, you need to keep doing it. You need to keep looking at policies, you keep, looking at reforms that can make the people of Osun to thrive. And with a sacred pledge to God and the good people of Osun State, okay, yeah, to celebrate the victory, as in he's talking about my intellect, his passion, his strength, will be devoted to nothing but the welfare, peace, and security of the people. So it just goes back to show that, that his heart is in the right place with regards to people. So let's just listen to this and then we'll just get right back. I'm even having like, joy is pumping. All right, let's go back to this. Let's listen to this.
For sure. Because they stood by me and they did everything to let them know that, to let me know that they love me and I love them back. And today has proven it today.
What should the people be expecting from you now that there's no more litigation against this?
Well, it's now to be focused. Even though there was little distraction, we were focused. You journalists can testify to our 100 days in office. I mean, you have seen it all. You went with me, you worked with me, you saw what we have done. And work is still going, despite the fact of little distraction. Now there's no distraction again. We have all our agenda, our 5-point agenda in the making. You just wait and see, because we can tell you our government is grassroots. Our government is people's government. They ain't seen nothing yet. We have a lot of goodies in stock for our lovely Osun people.
What's your message to your opponents who contested this case with you?
Well, my message is that there's no winner, there's no vanquish. So everybody should come together now that our government.
Of course, we give credit to Arise TV for that particular video feed, yes. And it's heartwarming, I must say. Yeah, and something that caught my attention is the fact that he said his government is for the grassroots.
Yeah, people focused.
Yes, it's people
and he's
focused.
also talked about agro-industrialization as well, boosting the state's economy, and more like homegrown infrastructure policy, that he will be bringing to Osun State. But then again, of course, the victory yesterday for Ademola Adeleke has been greeted with a lot of congratulatory messages. So we just look at a few tweets as we also think of linking up with a journalist from Osun State to tell us exactly what is happening in Osun State as we speak, and of course how the people are reacting to this particular judgment.
So this is Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki. Says today's Supreme Court ruling in favor of Adeleke 1 is a triumph for democracy and the people of Osun State. I congratulate my dear brother Governor Ademola Adeleke and our party on this victory. Hashtag power to the people. Of course, celebratory. Dami Adenuga says mandate secured. Ademola Adeleke remains governor of Osun as Supreme Court rules in his favor. Okay. Great win, great win. Let's see. Do we have another tweet?
Of course, we have.
We
more
can
tweets
take
coming.
another one. Okay. This is Right Honorable Sharif Oborove. Congratulations to Governor Ademola Adeleke on his Supreme Court victory. The ruling affirming him as the rightful governor of Osun State is a victory for democracy and the will of the people. I think very importantly, the will of the people, of course, and democracy too.
Yeah, definitely. I think we have a tweet from, yes, Atiku Abubakar, of course, the presidential candidate for the People's Democratic Party. He says, I am excited to extend my heartiest congratulations to Governor Ademola Adeleke at Adeleke 01 on his recent affirmation by the Supreme Court as the governor of Osun State. Your victory is not just a testament to your unwavering dedication and perseverance, but it also symbolizes the trust and faith the people of Osun State have vested in you. Oh, wow. And it continues. It says, your journey to this monumental accomplishment has been characterized by tenacity and a staunch belief in the democratic process. Your success at the Supreme Court affirms the robustness over judiciary and the strength of democracy in the nation. Yes, that's Atiku Abubakar's congratulatory speech there, or message.
We also see that the president-elect Bola Tinubu,
Yes,
has given a word to Ademola Adeleke of Osun State. He said, "Settle down to work." Tinubu tells Adeleke after Supreme Court victory. Of course, President-elect also commended his party man, Adegboyega Oyetola, for exercising his democratic right of challenging Adeleke's victory at the court. Now, yesterday he congratulated Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke over his victory at the Supreme Court, urging him to quickly unite the state and settle down to work for the progress of the state. Let's not even forget that Ademola Adeleke himself has said, go and look at the antecedents of my first 100 days in office. You can see that in spite of the distraction, now that we know that we are settled in the state.
Yes.
So I think, the word from the president-elect goes to meet the readiness of the governor of Osun State.
Yes, and of course, President Muhammadu Buhari too has also reacted to the Supreme Court's judgment in affirmation of Ademola Adeleke yesterday. He's saying that he has called for support for Governor Adeleke's admin of law and democracy in Nigeria. And also, again, the Supreme Court, of course, while affirming Governor Adeleke as the winner of the election, held that the appellant failed to show enough evidence. When we look at even the case, of Ademola Adeleke and what happened yesterday, like I said earlier, a lot of, Nigerians are trying to match what happened yesterday at the Supreme Court to what is expected at the Presidential Petition Tribunal now. And more like they're trying to compare notes. So what exactly is going to be happening? What do we expect? And they're also counting on the judicial system as well to make sure that they do well in terms of justice. I know that there's been call from a lot of people, for people like Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar to sheath their sword. We saw a couple of days ago the Oni of Ife had to make that call, and there was the cry for justice. And I know that Peter Obi, for one, he cannot dash the hopes of those Nigerians, and he will follow the proceedings of the judicial system or the petition tribunal. Now he follow it through to the end of it and see that yes, everything has been put to rest before he backs down. And well, we give it to them. We give it to the judiciary right now. A lot of Nigerians are hailing the court right now and the judicial system. We just hope that at the end of the petition tribunal now of the presidential elections, will continue to hail the judicial system and every party, because that's where it's tilting to. Now, and a lot of conversations are going to the fact that, okay, the Supreme Court now has affirmed Adeleke. Everybody seems to be satisfied. We hope that when the Presidential Petition Tribunal affirms any member or any presidential candidate, Nigerians would take that judgment.
Because that's what I was going to come to. We need to be careful with our expectation around the tribunal, Presidential Election Tribunal, because of course, Nigerians are in different brackets wanting different things. So how will we know that, at what point can we be able to measure that the ruling of, the court over the Presidential Election Tribunal is going to be what will be widely accepted and widely celebrated? At the end of the day, that judgment is going to come to one of the three people contesting. Will we still, laud the Supreme Court for fair hearing, analyzing the evidences before the court properly and giving the judgment thereof? Because, for instance, when we are looking at the Osun State story, they are saying, we don't have any issue with you contesting that Ademola Adeleke did not win, but you did not bring your argument. Your argument was not strong enough to overhaul his... It's more like it's in black and white. It's in print right there for everyone to see why the Supreme Court, gave that particular judgment in favor of Ademola Adeleke. And then we can now see the response and how the people of Osun have received the news. It might be a little dicey when we are going to that of the presidency. So I'm really just telling Nigerians that we should cap our expectations a little. Let's cap our expectations a little bit around this presidential tribunal. we don't know where it's going to land. We just need to be ready for it. But
Yeah.
we do hope that we can all take it in good faith.
Yeah, definitely. That's what a lot of Nigerians are asking for. Nigeria is the only country that we have, and of Mary Joseph is standing by for that. And then when we come back, of course, we're trying to set up with our guest from Osun State, who is a journalist, to talk to us about the air in Osun State as we speak. When we come back, of course, from that news brief, we'll definitely join our guest from Osun State. Just stay with us.
government, Secretary General, delegates.
This was the Lagos Nigeria for Spectrum TV to improve for the life safety counting.
A very good morning to you and welcome to your morning news brief on Spectrum, live from Uyo. I am Mary Joseph. Starting the news brief this morning is a report that Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari will spend one extra week in London, the United Kingdom, where he is undergoing dental treatment. According to a statement signed by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, Buhari will remain in London, the United Kingdom, for an additional week based on the advice of his dentist, who has started attending to him. Meanwhile, former President Goodluck Jonathan has commended the President Muhammadu Buhari for approving a 4-day electrical installation and maintenance training program organized in Bayelsa State by the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure. The former president and the Bayelsa State Governor Doye Diri, however, cautioned trainees taking part in the program not to sell their starter packs at the end of the exercise. In a separate development, the Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abdullahi, says the federal government is committed to the preservation of the environment, noting that there were policies in place towards the goal of halting biodiversity losses. The minister, represented by Deputy Director in the ministry, Bose Olakani, spoke at the 21st Chief S.L. Edu Memorial Lecture in Lagos with the theme Humanity and the Twin Crisis of Climate Change and Biodiversity Loss. On the foreign scene, a jury has found that former U.S. President Donald Trump sexually abused writer Jean Carroll. The panel of 6 men and 3 women also found that Trump injured advised columnist Carroll in a Manhattan Bergdorf Goodman dressing room and defamed her when he called her a liar, ordering the former president to pay $5 million in damages. And finally, in sports, the official Napoli radio station says club president Ariel De Laurentiis is negotiating a new contract with Vitor Osimhen's agent. Reports say that De Laurentiis is having direct negotiations with Osimhen's agent over a new contract after they won their first Serie A title in 33 years last Thursday. We'll have details of these stories and more in our news at 12. I am Mary Joseph. Let's head back to Rise and Shine, where we have Janice and Uyai on standby. Do have a wonderful morning.
Government, Secretary General, delegates.
This was the Lagos Nigeria for Spectrum TV to improve for the life safety counting.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Rise and Shine, and we're beaming live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Mary Joseph has just brought us tidbits of global news. And before we went to the news brief desk, we were talking about the very big win for Osun State and Governor Ademola Adeleke, whose victory at the gubernatorial elections held last year was upheld by the Supreme Court. This morning we are still going to be having a conversation looking squarely into the victory, what it means for the People's Democratic Party, Ademola Adeleke, the people of Osun State. What is the spirit of this victory like right now in Osun State? Joining us to have that conversation is Adewale Adetorise, a journalist who is joining us this morning from Osun State. Good morning, Adewale. Very good to have you on the show.
Very warm good morning to everyone in the studio, Janice and others. Good morning.
Okay.
Morning.
So this is Uyai. Her name is Uyai.
Oh, Uyai. All
Yeah.
right. Good
Oh,
morning.
you got the pronunciation so clear.
Yeah.
That was easy for you.
Yeah.
Okay, how is Osun State this morning? The spirit of victory. We've already seen certain videos, you know, coming out of there, and it's more like the victory is palpable and something that is rare. It goes to look like the kind of celebrations that we saw coming out of Abia State upon the win of the argument.
Alex Oti.
Alex Oti as governor from the just concluded election. So what's the air like in Osun State?
Well, Osun, at least yesterday, the judgment reopened Osun to a real Osun State people, the old women, the civil servants, and others. And it all attests to one thing, that the governor is popular, that the government is acceptable. And you see, there can't be leadership except there is followership. So the judgment, had it been it was something different from what we heard yesterday, I can't predict it.
Okay, this is network absolutely getting in the way. I'm sure that will be fixed and let him get back to us in a bit. But like he said, just trying to get his last thoughts. If the judgment was different, what would we have seen in Osun State? We really can't tell, because it's like, you know, the victory is everywhere. The old women, the old men, hawkers on the street,
the youth, children, everybody.
It's not like a celebration that is stimulated by money or by anything.
Definitely. And I wish we can get him back, so we begin to ask questions like, how has the administration of Ademola Adeleke been so far? I know that a lot of people call him, in Nigeria, a lot of people refer to him as a dancing governor. And because of that part of him, seemingly so, they're seeing him as one person that might not be a very serious person and all of that. But I just hope that we can get Adewale back on for us to have fixed that. And if that's done, definitely we'll continue on that conversation. But if it's not done, we go over to our daily spotlight. Yes, we'll go over to our daily spotlight. So let's take a breather and we'll be right back.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigeria. From issues on politics,
hello Nigeria, I remain committed.
Security,
education, health,
lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken
every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television. All right, welcome back. Of course, trying to get back to our guest from Osun State, Adewale Adetoyese, who is a journalist, but that seems not to be working because of some technical issues we are kind of encountering at this end. But we'll go quickly now to our newspapers. Of course, our daily spotlight. We'll take that and share with you some of the information on our national dailies. Let's do daily spotlight.
All right, on Daily Spotlight this morning, let's start first with the Nation newspaper. Looking at the front page of the Nation, National Assembly, Akpabio Abbas rallied lawmakers for support. We also see here House Speaker, Deputies Zones neglect. Petrol subsidy pushing Nigeria to bankruptcy, Sanusi warns. El Rufai, Buhari declined advice to end payment. Buhari, Tinubu congratulates Adeleke, Supreme Court affirms victory. We also have here monetary policy alone can't reset economy. We also have here it's only natural for one with the requisite qualification and gumption to occupy such an exalted office. Of course, that's a picture story there with the president-elect. Oshibajo inaugurates Transcorp's AFAM 240 megawatt fast power plant. Okay, great news already. PDP governors begin move to reconcile Atiku with Wike, Makinde, others. And that's all the stories that we have on the front page of The Nation.
Okay, we got the big story on this day, of course, talks about the victory of Adeleke as Supreme Court confirms or affirms his election. PDP, Buhari, Tinubu celebrate. Of course, the writer of that story says President urges citizens to team up with Governor. Yeah, there's also another writer here that says it's evident Beavers has come to stay, Atiku declares. We also have that INEC APC Tinubu may oppose live broadcast of proceedings, of course, for the presidential election tribunal that is ongoing. Federal government approves acquisition of Abuja Discos by Transcorp Consortium. We have that banks demand tax clearance certificate on FX transaction, and of course a story here that says a Emefiele RT200 initiative boosted non-oil exports by 40% in 2022. $1.7 billion inflow recorded in Q1 2023. That's from the business angle, and that's all that we have on the front page of this day.
Moving on from this day, we will look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch newspaper, of course, presidential poll, Tribunal to consider PDP LP's live broadcast request. Broadcasting proceedings live is of national importance, Atiku's legal team, LP insists. Justice Nsamani promises speedy treatment of demand. APC vows appropriate response. We also see here Speaker, 5 aggrieved aspirants team up against Abbas, page 7. Otedola fumes over Transcorp deal, Elumelu keeps mum, page 31. Over $200 billion national assets lost to terrorism, says federal government, page 42 is where you can find that story. Final victory, Buhari, Tinubu congratulate Adeleke, supporters jubilate. We also see here 15 die in Sokoto boat accident, 25 missing. Lagos Bishop raped me twice, female pastor. Page 4 and 5 is where you can find that story. Federal government orders private jets removal from...
We'll take a Daily Sun. The story on Daily Sun, of course, the big story here says presidential election tribunal entertains Atiku's pre-hearing petition tomorrow, which is Thursday the 10th. The writer here says Tinubu asks courts to dismiss APM suit against his victory. Pro-democracy group tasks CJN on fair judgment. You can find that story on page 6 and 8. Nigeria's electricity markets could be among world best. The writer here says federal government chooses Transcorp as Abuja Disco. That story can be found on page 6. Sudan crisis, NIDCOM confirms return of 1,730 evacuees on 9 flights. Page 5 is where you get details of that from. I was deprived of 1,072 votes in Nkanu East. Enugu governor-elect tells tribunal. You find that story on page 27. Seplat holds AGM today in compliance with court order. Buhari, Blair, Okonjo-Iweala to speak at induction of new and returning governors. Page 28 is where you get that from. Reps adjourn plenary to May 16. Details can be found on page 6. Going forward, jubilation in Osun as Supreme Court affirms Adeleke governor. And the writer says, Governor dedicates victory to God as Buhari solicits support for him. You can get that story on page 26. And that's just about all that we have, except that we have a story here from the National Assembly. It says senators-elect push for Kalu Yari ticket. The writer says 18 North Central lawmakers-elect reject APC zoning. More trouble for the leadership tussle in the National Assembly. That's all the stories that we have on
Senate President and Speaker. NWC divided over micro-zoning of positions. North Central insists on speakership slot. Northwest seeks Senate presidency. 18 North Central senators elect kick. NWC divided. Oyebanji Ekiti senators elect back Akpabio. Southeast APC group hails party's decision. Baja's men go after members elect for signatures. Freshers form New Dawn movement as Wase Ado Doguwa others meet. NAS members elect will determine their leaders. PDP LP. New rules favoring open balloting raises dust. Okay. Telcos right NAS demand flag down of new NITDA bill. Presidential inauguration. Federal government orders airlines to relocate planes from Abuja terminal. Supreme Court rather affirms Adeleke duly elected Osun government. Okay. Buhari commissions AFAM 3 power plants. Okay. Tinubu 6 dismissal of APM's petition, says he lacks merit. Okay, these are some of the stories that we have on the front page of Vanguard newspaper, and we hear that our guest is back on air with us, so we can just go ahead with that particular conversation. Osun State the win, of course. Supreme Court affirming Ademola Adeleke as the duly elected governor of Osun State. We have Adewale joining us all the way from Osun State to have that conversation this morning. Adewale, good morning once again, and thanks for joining us. Okay.
Okay. We were taking our papers this morning, but let's go back to Osun State. You were talking about that the air in Osun State is that of celebration, and if the court had adjourned otherwise, more like there would be an outcry in Osun State. So let's also look at, for the past we'll say
between the first 100 days.
Yes, the first 100 days of Governor Ademola Adeleke. What would you say has been his greatest achievement so far?
Well, his greatest achievement so far, to me, would be his acceptance by the people of Osun, which reflected in the just concluded 2023 election. You allow stuff that happened a few years.
Serious concerns here with the network issue, but well, if we try to fix that, we'll just open up our phone lines now for Nigerians to have their say as regards the the papers that we just finished having. Of course, a lot of stories here on the papers this morning. We know that the tribunal, the presidential tribunal, petition tribunal now is ongoing, and one of the major recommendations a party like a PDP and Labour to follow, and we see here on the papers as on Punch precisely now that Adewale is back. So very quickly, just wrap up your thoughts on what you were trying to say. Biggest achievement of Adeleke so far, people's acceptance. Okay, just go ahead.
Yeah, so people's acceptance, and if you see the election here, particularly that of the House of Assembly, PDP won everything. The Senate, PDP won everything. The House of Reps, PDP won everything. So Adinbino Oyetola was returned by the Supreme Court yesterday. It would have been a governor of a governor. He won't be a governor of the people, and he won't have the assembly to work with and other stakeholders. Apart from that, infrastructure-wise, Adeleke has been able to start very strongly by starting some infrastructural projects, particularly roads, because in Osun we still have challenges as accessing some parts of the state, particularly the rural area. So Adeleke has been able to open some areas in Oshogbo, in Ede, even here in Ile-Ife where I am, and in other the other part of the half salary that was paid by the Aregbesol's government, which Oyetola deliberately ignored, or maybe mistakenly, or was misled to have ignored, despite being a member of the APC like Aregbesola. He didn't pay, but Adeleke started paying it. And so, when a governor is doing things like that, people will see him as being people friendly and feeling the pain just like a common man.
Okay, now there's another angle. A lot of people have said because he dances a lot, he seems to be a very unserious fellow.
Well, like we all know, dancing is, I can say it's African, but also it is global. And what does it mean? It means that you are happy. So when you are happy, you might choose to express your happiness in any way. Some people dance, some people just raise up their feet and just, But he's a man that naturally he likes dancing. He can't stop dancing. And it was reflected in the tribunal judgment then when the judge or the lead judge is a book.
Yeah, he says he's a Buga governor. Of course, the governor is one person that has continued to say, even coming with all the backlashing, that he would definitely continue to dance. And, thank God for some of the victories that he has gotten so far. But we seem to have Adewale back.
Yeah, so just to, try to drive more on this conversation. Now, in his speech upon yesterday's judgment, he said, thankfully, they were able to start out doing certain things in Osun State, although there were, distractions with the tribunals and all. Now the distractions are off. What are the expectations with the Ademola Adeleke-led administration going forward?
I don't think he got your question.
Okay,
Adewale,
able to hear me? Okay, I don't know if... Do you have our audio? Let's know.
Well,
okay.
I think we've had enough of that particular interview. Just that the net.
I doubt. I don't think so. Adewale, can you hear us this morning? Okay, I think we might just have to let that go.
Yeah, definitely.
The audio is really interfering.
Yeah.
So that we can have a smooth sail on other conversations. But basically, I think that's what it is with regards to Ademola Adeleke's win at the Osun State election. The Supreme Court has upheld it. We would have wanted to have more conversations to look into the prospect of his administration going forward. Now that he doesn't,
have any form of distractions.
And then not even a distraction, more like having to know that there is an Oyetola who is still fighting for that position. Sometimes somebody might want to prove themselves within the first 100 days, do the most, so that it looks like, you are the one for the job. But then once you now hear that the Supreme Court has given you the saddle, you now relax and do nothing. We are hoping that that's not going to be the case with Ademola Adeleke and for the people of Osun State. Because just like Adewale was trying to say, in his first 100 days in office, he has done things, that previous administrations did not attempt to do. We do hope it was not a way of securing the bag. And now that the bag is secured, we no longer hear that the dancing governor is doing so much for the state or, as an administration. Adewale, the network is really disturbing us. I don't know if you can hear me right now.
Yeah,
okay. So just a quick one. I was asking, what are the hopes for Ademola Adeleke's administration going forward now that he has secured the bag? And I was raising a sentiment with Janice just now. There's a possibility that he might have been doing all that he's done in the past couple of months just to make sure that he looks good in the eyes of the Osun people and secure the bag. But now that he knows that he's the sitting governor of Osun State, do you think that he has the capacity to go on with great works and make sure that Imole is real, Imole Day is a real thing in the state?
Well, I hope he is not trying to cajole us with the wonders he performed in the first 100 days. That notwithstanding, we believe that Ademola, being a member of a political dynasty in Osun State, we all know his elder brother Isiaka Adetunji Adeleke, who equally was a governor in this state before he died. He was the first civilian governor, and I'm sure coming from such prestigious heritage, he won't want to make mess of it, especially for those coming behind him too. And his father was a senator. I think his grandfather too was a senator. So, and he himself was a senator. And I'm sure he won't want to mess up with that heritage that he is now the face of. And also, a governor is as good as his team. Now the judicial process is over. He is the affirmed governor. What we need to see him doing now is to set up his team, the commissioners, the special advisors, and also put up the local government structure, which was killed by the APC. It was killed. There has not been local government chairmen, councillors, and co. We hope that he knows that at least right now he's the governor. There is no other court except from the Supreme Court where he has won. He has been declared winner, and we hope that going further, between now and the next 100 days too, his team should be ready. And it depends on the personality on the team that will now tell us if this man is ready to work or he is here to dance. But I am sure that he will work for the people of Osun to dance and not the other way around. He won't be dancing for us to see. He will be working for us to dance.
I think that's also the perfect way to land it. So there is an expectation that Ademola Adeleke will be working for the people of Osun State to dance, not dancing for the people of Osun State to suffer.
Yeah, definitely.
Ademola, thank you so much for coming on Rise and Shine this morning. We absolutely appreciate your time, and we wish the people of Osun State a really great dispensation under Ademola Adeleke. Okay. That's about it.
Yeah, definitely. Good thing that, the people are rejoicing, but most importantly as well, he's made mention of the fact that, look, it's not just about him, it's about the people that will be working with him in his cabinet. How good and how much of capacity do these people have? And of course,
how willing are they
to deliver as well? He also says that Ademola Adeleke has a point to prove, going back by the precedents of his family lineage, how many people have been there before, and why he needs to make sure that he doesn't mess up with that particular opportunity.
He doesn't shut the door against others from his dynasty that might want to come. I think that was very instructive at this time. But
definitely.
That's all for Osun State.
That's all for Osun State and the victory. But again, maybe we'll still come back to Osun State on the part of the Adetola Adegboyega now, to find out exactly how they are feeling towards this victory. And if there's any other thing they intend to do, but we know that there's really nothing.
It's done at the Supreme Court.
Okay, so at this point, I think we're just going to take a very, very short breather. And of course, when we come back, we're coming back with our second guest this morning, the Presidential Election Tribunal. So far, so good. What are the successes recorded? And what do Nigerians actually expect? That's always the big question. We'll come back with Jido Joe on the second focus for the morning. Just stay with us. All right, thank you for joining us once again. Of course, you remember that the show is Rise and Shine, and we get to share with you a lot of topical issues affecting the country, Nigeria. And one of them is, of course, the ongoing Presidential Petition Tribunal that is holding as we speak. And a lot of successes maybe have been recorded. Of course, remember that Peter Obi's case will be heard on tribunal. But joining us this morning to give more light to this conversation is Jido Joe, who is the Executive Director, Oja Development Consult. He's an author, columnist with The Punch, and of course, host of Development Focus with Jido Joe on ITV and a public affairs analyst. Good morning. Mr. Ojo, and thank you so much for joining us. Of course, you know it's always a pleasure having you on Rise and Shine show.
Thank you, Janice. Good morning. Good
morning. Good morning.
My other sister.
Yeah. Well done. Good to have you on the show. Well done.
Right.
I believe that you are closest to the heat of the Presidential Tribunal because, I mean, it's holding in Abuja. So we can imagine people driving through the streets and looking over to see has celebration erupted from any part of the town, read here and there. What are your thoughts holistically about the process? Because I think the process is very important. It's very important that we look into the process so that it can determine the outcome that we are expecting to see.
Okay. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on your platform once again. You ladies are looking very beautiful.
Thank you.
I wish I could have both of you with me. Sorry about that. Anyway, the truth, and I will share with you, Janice, my article in the Punch of today because I actually weigh in on this issue. By that I mean the whole procedure of election dispute resolution. I am of the view that proceedings that the court or the tribunal use in arriving at their decisions. Yesterday we have the election of Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State affirmed by the Supreme Court. That's after the initial scare in Osogbo in January, when the tribunal, in a split decision of 2-1, actually nullified that election. Now, people are jubilating, Abi. If we say, oh, their lordship they were compromised to have arrived at that decision. Oh, that. So I will encourage you, and it's available on the website of Punch, to read. The title of the article is Why the Rising Opposition to Tinubu's Inauguration. And I was looking at it from the point of, is this the first time we are having disputed election? Of course not. I cited the example in US, in Brazil, and in Kenya, that these are other countries, and virtually every other country that has subscribed to democracy, they have election disputes. That's why in every democracy, depending on the jurisdiction, you have what is called election dispute resolution mechanism, EDR. It is the election dispute resolution mechanism that has now been activated by P2B, by Atiku Abubakar, by the APM and the other party, which is within their rights. But what I took objection to is the eating off of the polity live telecast of the proceedings. For what reason? I object to that on two grounds. You want to unveil their lordship so that if they give decision that is contrary to your own expectation, you can have their names and their faces on the newspapers and in social media, and their families could be subject to attack, if not themselves. We have had situations in this country where judges were abducted. Serving judges were abducted, even Court of Appeal justices. So if that's there, you want to unveil them and put them under pressure.
But the point is whether
not their countenance. Who we want to go and start doing Google search to get you get what I'm saying, Janice?
Yes, sir.
What about the witnesses? You are going to be calling witnesses that needs protection. Under Nigeria's jurisprudence, we do not have whistleblower protection law. What we have is whistleblower policy. So somebody comes to give witness against or in favor, they are marked. They start receiving death threats. Their families could be abducted. You know, these are the kind of things I think we should advance our minds to. I'm all for, openness, transparency, and all of it. So you want to stop every other broadcasting, every other programs to televise the court proceeding because
can I ask a question at this point? Can I ask a question at this point? What's the difference between the of course human rights violation investigative commission, of course also known as the Oputa panel, that happened years ago? What's the difference with that? Because I remember very well, even as a child, we watched that panel. It was live. What's the difference between that and asking that the Presidential Election Tribunal should be made live?
God bless you, my sister. See, Oputa panel was a truth and reconciliation committee. Oputa panel was not meant to indict anybody, to send anybody to jail. All those who came before it, they came and volunteer information on the basis of, they volunteer. If you fail to come, you cannot be subpoenaed. And it was a truth and reconciliation committee. There was no indictment of anybody. Have you ever seen anybody since that time? That was like 90-something or early 2000. Have you ever seen somebody sent to jail on the basis of Oputa panel's report? It has been there gathering dust.
But when you talk about truth and reconciliation, Nigerians are also asking for justice. And before we begin to talk about truth and reconciliation, there has to be a justice process. So it's still in line with truth and reconciliation.
Listen, Janice. Was the proceeding for the affirmation of Ademola Adeleke in Osun, was it telecast live before justice was done? In the 8 states where there is off-cycle, off-season governorship election, was there ever any live telecast of proceeding before their lordship arrive at those decisions? Why are you putting them under pressure? Look at the interest of the judges. Look at the interest of the witnesses. And mark you, lawyers want to have a feast. They want to dramatize. When you have camera, people will come, grandstanding, wasting time because they want to be shown on camera that they are doing their job. That is not what courts are meant for. Anyway, that's on the side. Let's go to the substance of the issue. Has anybody read Section 285 of the Constitution? Section 285 of the Constitution sets parameters for the conduct of tribunals and courts. And it talks about within 21 days, a petitioner, somebody who is aggrieved on election issue, within 21 days of the declaration of result of that election, will file petition. Then the court or the tribunal has 108 days within which to adjudicate on that petition. Then, if you are dissatisfied with the ruling or the judgment of the lower court, you can go to the appellate court, and that you have 60 days. Now, this is how it happens. Did you know that the 180 days for Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, and the rest of them started to count on from March 1? March 1 was the day the result of the presidential election result the result was declared by INEC chairman. From that day, today is what? May 10. So how many days have gone? March, the entire April, 2 months. 60 days have gone, 70 days. Really, 70 days out of 180 days have gone. My sisters, please keep this in mind. Before, some people will say, oh, they read them out, they compromise the judges. 70 days. What happened on Monday is what is called pre-hearing. Pre-hearing. The substance, the merit of the case is yet to even be addressed. This, if you follow proceedings, they are just saying, okay, exchange briefs, look at what you want to rely on for your case and all of that. They have not started the merit of the case. 70 days have gone. Leaving how many days? 110 days. Now, for each of the witnesses you are going to call, the petitioner, the person who went to court, will examine that witness before the court. We examine. Okay, ask the normal question. After he is done, after the lawyer is done examining that person, the respondents, and here there are 3 respondents. INEC is a respondent. Tinubu is a respondent as a candidate, and APC is a respondent. Now, these 3 people, each of them will now cross-examine the witness one by one. There is no putting 10 people, 5 people in a box and say, okay, any one of you can answer this. No. When you pick a witness, each of that witness, the petitioner will examine him or her. The respondents will cross-examine that one person. So if you have 100 or 200 witnesses, look at it. How many days will you need for witness examination and cross-examination? And sometimes, because the respondents wants to waste it, have lined up 100 witnesses, 200, 300 witnesses. By the end of that 180 days, you may never have been able to call more than 20. Because this is cast in stone. You have just 180 days. So at the end of the day, people need to understand these procedures, because there's also, aside from those relevant sections of the Constitution I've cited, there's provision of Electoral Act in Chapter 8 of the Electoral Act, sections 130 to 140. Then there's what is also called practice direction by the court. Practice direction. These are the 3 documents that their lordship, and by the way, election petition in Nigeria for presidential election starts from Court of Appeal and ends at the Supreme Court.
So what you're trying to say in essence is that Nigerians shouldn't expect anything very serious coming out from the Presidential Election Tribunals. Is that what you're trying to say? No, given the fact that from your analysis, it's going to take like forever, trying to come on this procedures.
No, don't get me wrong. Now, this is it, Janice. In Kenya in 2017, Kenya has 2 weeks within which to do EDR. Election petition arising from the presidential election in Kenya goes straight to the Constitutional Court or their Supreme Court. You get, and it is heard and disposed of within 2 weeks, 14 days. That's what they have. The same thing in Uganda, 14 days. Now, what quality of evidence can you do in 14 days? And that's why William Ruto's election, despite the contestation by Raila Odinga, was affirmed. But something happened in 2017. Raila Odinga's team was able to prove institutional rigging. Do you get that? The result that was uploaded on the server of the IEBC, that's Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the result that were uploaded, about 100,000 of those results did not match the one that were manually collated. Now, I've heard from P2B's lawyers, or some social media posts, that they have been able to uncover a lot of discrepancies between the Beavers uploaded result and the one that were manually collated. If that can be proven, and their lordship can do the arithmetic, because what judges do sometimes is arithmetic. So the results that are different, the results that do not tally, that is the one that is manually collated and the one that is uploaded. By the time they isolate them, calculate the number of those, the total number of results and the total number of votes in those results, and do the deduction, perhaps that could vitiate the victory of Tinubu, in which case the court can now say, oh, Tinubu, you did not win. This person, after we have done our arithmetic, is the person that won. That's number one. Two, the court could say, oh, this election, there was widespread manipulations and all of that. Go and have a rerun. Those are the two possibilities. The other possibility is to say, Section 135, and you ladies should have a copy of the Electoral Act and Constitution by your side, so that when I'm making reference, you can bear me out. Section 135 of the Electoral Act says that a result of an election will not be nullified if there is what is called substantial compliance. So what I'm trying to tell you and the being public is that the court will not nullify Tinubu's victory on the basis that there were errors or there were discrepancies. What the court will be looking at is whether there was substantial or non-substantial compliance with the electoral laws. So if the legal team of Atiku and P2B can prove that there was substantial non-compliance, Tinubu's victory can be truncated. However, if they could not, given the scenario I've earlier painted, the issue of processes and procedures that you need to follow, if they cannot, because this happened in 2019, and listed about 200 witnesses that he wants to rely on. At the end of the day, he could not call more than 30 or thereabout. And their lordship in their judgment said he came and just dumped piece of fraud. It's akin to criminal allegation. And in criminal allegation, in law, there's criminal and civil cases. So when you allege fraud, you have alleged crime. And in our law, he who alleges must do what? Must prove. And you must prove beyond reasonable doubt. So that is the technical or team of P2B or the other party, APM, and the other party that are contesting. I do not know what evidences they have. But what I'm saying is that now, if they can prove that there was institutional rigging, like you cannot say because the uploading of the election result was delayed, then the election should be nullified. No, the election will not nullify election on the basis that you did not upload result in 24 hours. No, because it's not written in the law. It's not written that it has to be within 5 minutes or 10 hours between the one that your party agent or polling agent got and the one that was uploaded. And then you can lead evidences on the basis of those discrepancies.
Okay.
Am I communicating?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so this is really bringing us into the light of things I wanted to talk about, because even on the front page of our national dailies this morning, emphasis, I beg your, Ademola Adeleke's victory was upheld. And then people now start talking about reposing confidence back into those. And now let's look at, especially talking about discrepancies, there's been confusion as to, oh, this is what the guideline says about,
The IREF.
yeah, the IREF, 25% winning of the FCT, and, the election in, 2/3 of the country. Some of these things are the guidelines line, like Janice was trying to say earlier, so that Nigerians can know where to peg their expectations. Because I am personally concerned.
See, the contention about Section 134, sub 1, which talks about your minimum threshold that you need to win previous decision, that you do not need to score 25% in the Federal Capital Territory to be made a president. And some lawyers have cited instances in the past of former presidents who did not win 25% in FCT and they were declared president. So the answer is, I wish I have a golden card. I live in Abuja. Abuja unique, so that my presidential candidate must have 25% of votes in my domain. Does it make sense actually that somebody will win or could win the entire 36 states and failing to win a Federal Capital Territory that is not even up to a state? You now say he cannot be president. What makes FCT unique in any sense? I'm talking, I don't get water, I don't get light, I don't have security, I have to pay for all of this on my own. So what's the unique thing about being a resident of Abuja that a candidate must have 25% before he could be made the president? But their lordship will determine that. I mean, for once and for all. But I don't want us to join the narratives of the politician. See, on 3 different occasions was crying about stolen mandate from 2003. Oh, his mandate was stolen in 2003, was stolen in 2007, was stolen in 2011. In fact, after the 2011 election, he said he's not contesting election again. Oh, he has lost faith in Nigeria. He has lost faith because before he was persuaded in 2015 to try once more, and he now won. And what did he say? He said it's INEC that gave him victory because of the introduction of smart card reader. People speak from both sides of their mouth. Depending on what support Tinubu, I'm not a card-carrying member of any political party. In fact, if you must know, I am fully in support of the presidency. I have written a comment saying that Peter Obi should not allow himself to be cheated out. Where were they when they did political engineering to have Obasanjo as president in 1999? Did they win? Did Obasanjo win Southwest in 1999?
Okay,
it was the political class that came together and said, let's compensate the Yorubas for the death of Abiola, and they decided to field 2 Yoruba candidates, out of which Obasanjo emerged victorious.
Mr. Joe, let's go forward. Interesting conversations, I must say. But I know that one thing that has been associated with, the presidential peace and unity of the country is even more paramount at this moment. And you sound like you're tilting to that as well. But we have that 2 days ago now, the Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye in Niton, was also of the opinion that the Labour Party presidential candidate and that of the PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, should actually sheath their sword, and follow the path of peace and allow President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu to, rule the country. So what's your thought in all of this? Because it seems like, what's happening in Nigeria is a situation where people do things out of impunity, and then at the end of the day, they...
I agree with you, Janice. People's emotions are tampered with. More so, given the cost of elections in Nigeria, is monumental. In fact, the person I pity most in this last election was Atiku Abubakar. This is his 6th time running for the presidency of Nigeria. And the man must have lost a lot of his wealth to contesting election and the outcome of election. So by virtue, look at how close the results were. Tinubu won with 8.9 million votes. Atiku came second with 6.7 million votes or thereabout. So you can see the margin of victory. about 1.8 million. Now, this man, Atiku Abubakar, will most likely not be able to contest again in 2027. He will be 80 at that time. Who wants to vote an 80-year-old man into a presidential office when there are younger elements? You are on the national interest. Look, Tinubu doesn't have to be president anyway. Why did I say this? He's a billionaire. Did you see any fundraiser for his election? Did he organize any one single fundraiser? He's a billionaire, he's a business mogul, he's a former governor, he's a former senator. He is very influential. He has produced a lot of godchildren.
Sorry, sir, let me just come in here. National interest. I'm also not of the opinion that there should be some sort of war, because of the outcome of the elections. But what we are saying is, while we continue to put national interest forward, a lot of things just continue to go amiss. And that's why we have a systemic failure that we're experiencing in the country. So people will take laws into their hands and then come out with the disguise of national interest.
We've had these conversations before now.
The national interest is more like a selfish and...
Let the person just serve so that, let the person just go so that, and is that really, like Janice is saying, will this move our country forward?
No,
still on national interest.
That's what I was alluding to. I'm saying I understand the emotions of those who want the court system. My worry mostly is not even whether Atiku or Tinubu or Atiku or Peter Obi withdraw their petition. I'm more concerned about the loss of faith in the judiciary. And that's why in my article that I've referenced earlier on, I've cited they did not win, somebody else won. We all applaud them. When 5 days to inauguration in 2019, the Supreme Court said those who won under the platform of APC in 2019, that their certificate of return should be withdrawn and given to those who came second, whether Peter Obi or Atiku withdraws their petition. I've laid before you what the procedures are. If they are able to prove their case, worst case scenario, they will say Tinubu did not win. But that should not president inauguration have ever been stopped because there was contestation about their victory. That's where I stand.
Okay.
May 29 is sacrosanct. Allow the winner to be inaugurated. 60 House of Reps member, 993 State House of Assembly member, there are 109 senators. So let there be no vacuum. That's my own appeal.
All right.
Whether somebody withdraws from petition or decides to go ahead with petition, it is petition from the tribunal. If it does not meet your own expectation, then you must have been compromised. No, that is not the truth.
Okay.
Because you need to understand how the please don't get it twisted.
All right.
I'm not doing parako here. But let due process be followed.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
let due
thank
process
you.
be followed.
Yeah.
We must say a very big thank you to Jide Ojo, who is a public affairs analyst and an excellent columnist. Of course, he has referred us to his, at this time. That is why we are in the media. We absolutely appreciate you for your time this morning. We do hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.
And you too, my dears.
Yeah.
Right,
so great conversation.
Yeah,
I like that, it just stem what we are expecting. Let our expectation not be overboard. Like you said, when you're talking national interest, what exactly does that mean? Yeah. But this is like absolutely the much we can take on this conversation.
And then very quickly now, swearing in continue. Remember on the very first day of the pre-hearing at the tribunal now, we had a lot of protests ongoing, side by side with the pre-hearing at the tribunal. So let there not be a vacuum. Of course, governance has to continue. But this is the much we can take, yes, on the show this morning. Thank you so much for being a part. I will definitely see you again tomorrow. My name is Janice Cobham. Do have a great day.
My name is Uya, and again, thanks to everyone who was a part of the show. Let's do this again tomorrow. Bye-bye.